Okay, now we're recording.
It was under
Here we
the
go.
more.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We are here
All
with
right.
our color
Yes.
genetics class. Melissa will be
Yes.
taking over and teaching us color genetics. So I'm going to hand it over to her,
Yes.
and then we will be able to download this file and keep it on hand for us to refer back to.
Awesome. All right, everybody. So before I get right into the whole, color genetics things, I thought I would just kind of give you a quick little bio about how I got to where I am today with the color genetics with dogs. So about a year and a half ago, me and my partner in crime, Liz, which she's on here as well. She stepped away from her computer, but we both do Doodle Mania together. We're starting the business together. But we knew that we wanted to do Bernedoodles. And so in the midst of starting to research about Bernedoodles, I was seeing a lot of people that were doing the Bernedoodles but weren't necessarily producing the tricolors or the phantoms. And I just really started researching why that was. And so as I started kind of moving down that road, I really started getting heavily involved into just finding some people that could direct me and educate me on what the color genetics is all about with dogs. And so I found a handful of people that were really open, forthright with what it takes. And so that kind of was the journey that's where it began. And from there, I just sprung off from it. I just started really just delving into it. So it's been about a year that I've really just been pouring myself into learning all about the color genetics. So at this point, I feel like I have a really strong grasp on color genetics. I found that sometimes scientists are not always necessarily 100% sure on some aspects of the color genetics. So it's not always 100% foolproof, but it is fairly foolproof. So that's kind of where I started. So with that, I have a presentation. So I'm going to open up my screen to you and tell me if you can see my PowerPoint. Yep. Okay, awesome. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to introduce you to some terms that you may hear being tossed around when dealing with color genetics with dogs. Pen and paper is going to be really good. I know we're recording it, so if you're not necessarily somebody that likes to take notes but are willing to rewatch this video over and over again to just get it in your head, honestly, that's what I did. I've been spending a year just really getting it in my head, learning what it is and what it all means. And honestly, that's going to be your best way, I think, of really just obtaining the information and having it stick in your brain. So the first group of words that you may hear is eumelanin and pheomelanin. And these two terms are just simply the two pigments that will determine the coat color of a dog. So we're going to stop and we're going to look at eumelanin. So eumelanin is the black pigment. It affects the hair, the ears, the eyes and the nose of the dog. So it's the black. So whenever you see black in a dog, it's being produced by the eumelanin. Then we have the pheomelanin. Now that is the red pigment. This pigment, though, ranges in depth of color. You can get a deep red to an orange, a cream, a gold, a yellow, and a tan, kind of all that family. That is what pheomelanin is, and it only affects the hair. It does not affect the color of the nose or the eyes. The next group of words you may hear being tossed around is genotype and phenotype. Okay, so what do those words mean? Genotype is the set of genes in the DNA that's responsible for a specific trait. So it's in the genes. Whereas your phenotype is the visual, physical display of the genes. So you don't necessarily always see the genotype being presented on the coat of the dog, but the phenotype is what you visually see with your eyes.
Melissa, I have a question on that.
Okay.
So would that apply to like when you have a white golden doodle, even though she had a black mother? So the phenotype would be she's cream, but the genotype would be she carries black.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And we'll get deeper into that kind of aspect of it, but yes, that's in a nutshell. Right. So she may be genetically black, but because, especially with the reds and the creams, we're going to talk about that overrides the black. And we'll get into a little bit deeper into that. All right. So the other two words that you may hear is homozygous and heterozygous. So your results that you get from Embark, they're either going to be homozygous or they're going to be a heterozygous result. And basically what that means is when something is homozygous, your result is going to be, you're either going to have two dominants or two recessive alleles present in your results. For example, capital B, lowercase b, capital E, that is homozygous. They are the same. Whereas a heterozygous report would be they're the opposite. There is a capital B with a lowercase b, or capital E with a little e. So they're the opposite. So there's a dominant and a recessive present in your genetic results. With these dogs, like Jeanette was saying, you will have a physical representation, a phenotype present in the dog along with a recessive carrying trait. They won't display it within their own coat, but they could pass it on to their offspring. So then I broke up the lab results. So again, you could have a result that's dominant, which is homozygous. You could get a result that was the dominant with the recessive, which is the heterozygous. And that's when you hear, oh, my dog is black, but carries 4 phantom, for example. Then you can get 2 recessive results. And again, that's another example of a homozygous. Okay, so sometimes it's very tricky, and I had this happen to me when I was looking at a dog originally to purchase, and it was before I really had full knowledge about testing results. Sometimes you can test for just a specific allele. You are just wanting to know, does this dog have a dominant K? When you have that test result, you are left not knowing what the other answer is. If it is a locus that has multiple results. So for example, the K locus, you can get a dominant K. You can also get a brindle K, and then you can also get your recessive KY. So if you're testing for your KB, your result is going to come back KB, if they have it, /N. What N means is they don't have 2 dominants. They only have 1. You're left not knowing if the other one is a brindle or if it's a recessive KY. So when you're doing testing, it's kind of important that you get the whole picture of the locus. So not just picking an allele and say, I kind of want to know just whether or not it has a dominant K. To get the whole picture of the dog, it's better to just test for the whole locus rather than just one specific allele. All right. So now we're going to look at the different loci. One thing that's been really tricky is that different companies will sometimes test for the same allele, but they'll put a different letter to it. So for example, Embark, when they're talking about long hair, they'll call it a T. But in paw print genetics, they call it LH. So they're still testing for long hair, but Embark calls it a T, and Paw Print calls it an LH. So you just got to kind of be mindful, especially like if you've got maybe you buy a dog or you're looking at a dog and that breeder has tested for paw prints and you always do Embark. You just got to kind of learn the different lingos to make sure that you're not getting confused. They're still testing for the same thing. They're just calling it or labeling it different. Does that make sense? Okay, good. All right, so the first locus we're going to look at is the E locus. This locus, it's really kind of funny because the two recessive E's in this locus is the weakest allele or the weakest grouping within the E locus, but it is the most powerful amongst all of the locus. And I'm going to explain that a little bit deeper. Okay, so with the E locus, you're going to get a capital E and a capital E. If you get that results, you have to then look at the K locus to figure out what your dog color is. The same is true if you get a capital E and a recessive E, so a dominant and an E result. Let me do something real quick. I like to do this when I teach, and I think maybe it might help my explanation too. Okay, so when you get this result here, dominant E and a little e, you still have to look at the K locus to determine what the color is. This dog will be a carrier for red, apricot, and phantom. They themselves won't be red, but they can produce offspring that could possibly be red. Now, the two recessive E results is, like I said before, is the most powerful among all of the locus because it supersedes, it trumps, it overrides, whatever word you want to say. It overrides the results that's in the K. It overrides what is in the A. And it also will override the hair portion of the B. And I explained that a little bit lower, okay? So you have a dog that has two little E. That dog will be red, apricot, tan. It'll be in that kind of family of color. If that dog that has the two little E's happens to have two little B's, the only thing that changes on that dog is the color of their nose. Okay, and I've got an example here for you. Let me undo my circles. You guys need to go way over there. Okay, so in this examples, we have all three of these dogs are little e, okay? This dog right here, the large one, as you can see, has a brown nose. That means you know without a shadow of a doubt that that dog has two little B's in the B locus, because the two little B's will affect the nose color only on two little E's. Okay, that's just it. Now this dog right here and this dog here, they both have black noses. We don't know for sure what their result is. Their result could be two B's, two big B's, or it possibly could be a big B and a little b. Without further testing, you don't know. You do know with this dog with the brown nose, you absolutely know it is two little B's because the nose is brown and that's the only way it can be brown. All right, so E is the most powerful. It trumps all the other locus. So back to my mouse. Now, let's say you had the two little, the big E and the little e, and like I said, you have to look at the K locus to determine what the color of the dog is going to be. Now, in the K locus, you can have three different results. You can have your dominant K result, which is sometimes also called KB. It means the same thing. It's either going to just be a capital K or a KB. That is the dominant result. Then you have a K with a BR, which stands for brindling. There's still some controversy around this, but most people stick it here. So I'll just stick it here because the majority of the people say this is where it belongs. And then you have the most recessive, which is your KY. The result of a dominant K results in a black dog. A dog that has KBR, you now have to look at the A locus, and whatever is in the A locus will become brindled. So for example, let's say it's a phantom in the A, it's just going to be a brindled phantom. If your result is a KY, you then again, you look at the A. So it's always like, if you get this, you look at that. If you get that, you look at this. It's kind of the progression of it. So if you've got the KY result, you're now having to look at the A. But before we do that, we're going to look at the 3 examples of the K locus. This big one is a black poodle, so you know the result was a dominant K. This one up top is a brindled dog, so you know in the K it was a KBR. So the result was a KBR, and it brindled what was in the A locus, which to me looks like a sable. I think I think it's a brindled sable if I was to take a guess. And then down below, this result was a KY, and it is a phantom because the A locus is a phantom. So here we got the A locus. You have multiple results with this. AY stands for sable. AW stands for wolf gray, which you don't really see a lot of, but I just wrote it down. AT is your typical tries and tan point phantoms. And then you also have a recessive black, which is a little A. Sable is the most dominant, followed by the wolf gray, followed by the phantom, and the least is the recessive black for dominance in this locus. So AY is the most dominant. When AY is present, your dog will be a sable as long as you had a KY, KY, or a brindled. You could have a brindled and a KY together, or you could have brindle brindle result. Your animal will be sable. So in order for a dog to be sable, brindled, you have to have either the KB, the K brindle, or the KY. Big K, always going to be a black dog. Your AT is your tricolor phantom phenotype. It can carry a recessive black. It can't carry for a sable, but a sable can carry for a phantom, if that makes sense. In other words, you can't have a phantom phenotypically and it carry for sable. You can have a sable, but it carries for phantom. And then the recessive A is a recessive black or bicolor. What this means is if a dog receives 2 little A's, even though it has a KY, KY, if it also has 2 little A's, that dog will be black or bicolor without having to be a dominant black. It's called a recessive black. And I got photos of examples of this. So this big photo here is actually my girl Raja, and she is a phantom. So in her K locus, she's KY, KY. And then, so because she's KY, KY, I have to look at the A locus, and she's AT, AT. So she's a straight up phantom. This poodle here, again, is a sable. She's also KY, KY. And then in her A locus, she would be an AY, AT. So she carries for phantom. And this unique black German Shepherd happens to be a recessive black. Black German Shepherds are rare. So when you get black German Shepherds, it's a result of having the recessive 2 little A's in the A locus. Does anybody have any questions at this point? No? Okay. So the B locus is the brown locus. So you can get a result of the two capital B's. You could get a capital B and a lowercase b, and then you can get two lowercase b's. If a dog has the two dominant B's, the result is going to be, it's not going to affect the black dog. It's still going to be a black dog, black nose, black pads, doesn't have any effect on the black dog. If you have a capital B and a lowercase b, that dog is still going to be black, still going to have black nose, black pads. The only difference is that its offspring could potentially be brown if you pair it with another dog that carries for a little b. If you get two little b's, the result is going to be a brown dog. So if you happen to have a dog that has two capital K's, it would typically be black. The two little b's trump the black and turn it to brown. So if you have a phantom, so for example, say my Raja here happened to have two little b's, which she didn't, everything you see here that's black would have been turned brown. So two little b's basically turns everything that would normally be black brown. Let's see. Okay, there's one exception though, and that is in the result of a little e, which I had spoke to you before up here. The dog still was the yellow, but the only thing that changed was the brown nose. Okay, that's the same kind of writing right here, explaining that if you have two little e's and you have two little b's, the dog is still going to be cream. The only thing that changes is the nose will be brown instead of black. And here's some more examples. So we have a apricot kind of toy poodle. And as you can see, the nose is brown. So you know she's little e, and little b, little b. Here you have a chocolate lab that has two little b's. So it changed the black to brown. And then down below here, you have a phantom. So the K locus would have been KY, with a phantom AT, and then a little b. So there is, once you start learning the kind of the breakdown of this, some dogs you can decipher by just looking at them. This dog right here, oh, I want to make a point though. This dog right here, we have absolutely no clue what is in the K locus. She could be two dominant Ks. She could be two recessive KYs. There's no way of knowing when you have a dog that has two little E's because it masks, trumps everything. You can't tell. But this little dog in the lower corner, we can start deciphering. We know she has to be two KYs because she's a phantom. Because she's a phantom, we know she has to be AT, at least one AT, and either another AT or an A, right? And then because she's brown, we know she's two little B's. All right, so the dilute gene is DD, two capital D's, a D with a little d, and then two little d's. There's a pattern. They categorize it all the same. Two capital D's, the dog will not dilute out. So you got a black dog, it's gonna stay black. If you get a big D and a little d, that dog's not gonna dilute, but it can pass on the dilute gene to its offspring. And then two little d's, the dog will dilute. So you'll have a black dog and it will fade to a blue. Or if you have a chocolate liver colored dog, it will fade to an Isabella, or sometimes called lilac. So here we have examples of dogs that have been diluted because they had the two little d's in their testing results. So this would normally have been a black dog that diluted out to the blue. Up here, you have the silver beige poodle, which would have been a brown that has faded down to what they call the silver beige. And then here you have a lab. A good telltale sign is their noses. Their noses tend to be that bluish grayish color. And that's a sign that the dog has dilute, little d. And then the S locus is the spotting gene, and that determines the amount of white that you're going to get onto the dog. This is a codominant loci, which means it kind of shares the dominance amount. I guess I would kind of explain it. So, for example,
sorry.
Yeah.
This is the abstract. Your S locus white spotting is also abstract.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the
yes.
Okay, and then the fading on the last one, our DD locus. That's the one that's really hard in the red poodles. So many red poodles fade because we have not been able to figure out, because there's so many low D, right?
Yeah. So if you're getting reds that are just, I mean, you do a lot of testing results. Do you find you get a lot of little D's in your results?
Melissa, I don't give a shit. I don't know. I'd have to look now. I don't know. It's just been based on, I've just based on, so few people know about this, and it is really overwhelming. And so a lot of mine have been trial and error.
Yeah. So for you, if you really like that crisp red color, you're gonna want to make sure in the dilute gene that you don't have too little D's.
Okay, because so I know when I buy them a lot, because that's the big thing with the reds is they fade. Poodle breeders have a hell of a time. Those lines must be saturated with the too little D's. And so, the poodle breeders will say, oh, these don't have the fade, these won't fade. But see, if I had the genetic report, I can know if they're bullshit me or not. So it's So now I'm going to go back and look at my reds, but I don't know. But then when you mix it with the golden retriever, some of these genes, I mean, we're not doing purebred dogs. So how does that affect?
Can I back up for a second?
Yeah.
I want to back up for a second because there's also another factor, and this is one of the things that I had spoke about in the beginning. There are some loci that really some people label, but they're really not proven. And one of them is the intensity, and that may play a role in what you're experiencing as well. A lot of people say that there is an intensity locus that will determine the crispness of the red especially, but it hasn't been proven yet. So it's all hypothetical at this point when it comes to the intensity of the red.
So it's not even that, it's that it fades. So many of them will be so deep, dark red, and a year later, they're just cream, And my poodles fade, like Watson and Frankie, all of my poodles have faded. All my reds have faded.
I have a Labradoodle. When she came to us, was chocolate everything, and now she is like a parchment gray color.
Gray. Yeah, the gray. I hate that. I'll be honest, Lori. I mean, I hate that. Like,
she looks old.
Now, Casey. So, Lori, do you happen to know what her D results is?
I don't. I've never had her genetic testing because I'm not breeding her. She's 12.
Okay. Okay.
I just got a Aussie Doodle, and she's a red Merle. And then so I'm just thinking about the fading. My Labradoodle, I've gone through the same experience with the fading because she was chocolate, like dark chocolate, and is now gray.
So Casey says she has a doodle that was black and has faded to gray. Yeah. But her results is capital D, capital D. Like I said in the beginning, sometimes it's not 100% foolproof. There's, the scientists can only go so far in their understanding, I think, and sometimes there's just various different. I'm wondering if that has to do with like the intensity thing that's still being kind of hypothesized.
Yeah. Well, it bugs me that so many doodle breeders, I think they try to, I don't know if scam's the right word, but you'll see other doodle breeders, our dogs won't fade, our reds don't fade. I'm like, you can't really say that because you're hybrid breeding. And even if your genetics say so, you're still, I think more often than not, we always say, count on it fading. If it doesn't, you're lucky.
Right. Yeah, that's a better way of putting it, because
Yeah.
then you don't look like you're
That's it.
you're
They
yeah,
always say,
being a
what color
shady
will they
breeder.
be? I'm like, I don't know. You have to let me know in a year, but count on it
Well, I
fading.
mean, I was just
Always count on it fading.
Same goes with
yeah.
their eyes too, right? Because their eyes can change the color.
Yes, yes, it does affect the eyes when you get the fading dilute
Yeah,
and stuff.
hybrid
Yeah, the
breeding.
eyes can change.
Hybrid breeding.
Hmm. So the S locus is the spotting gene, like Jeanette was saying. It has to do with the abstracts. So you get a result of 2 capital S's, which would be no white at all on the dog. Now there's this thing that happens in vitro during development that can cause some whites to begin on the end of the paws. It has nothing to do with the spotting. So there's that phenomenon that kind of takes place, but we'll just that's a little caveat, even though it may be big SBS, big S. While they're developing in the utero, something happens and the pigment doesn't go all the way to the end. So without that, kind of pushing that to the side, if a dog is 2 capital S's, the dog will be solid in nature. If you get an S with an SP, there's minimal white. That's where you see the abstract. You might get a little bit on the little chest of the dog, maybe a couple other places. That's kind of the SSP result. And then if you get your SPSP, that's what we call the party poodles. They're nearly solid white, and then the other color is splotched onto the white, which a lot of people like to have in the doodle breeding. They like to see that SPSP to increase the chance of the amount of white. And here we got the examples of the dogs with the various different results. So the big dog here would be the SPSP result. Mostly white with a little bit of the color splashed on. And then the top right is the SSP result. So the abstracts. This one has a little bit of white on the paw, on the chest, and on the nose. And then down below is the solid white, so the big S, big S. Now, there is a gene that is the graying gene. It affects poodles, so that's why I threw it in. So when you get capital G, or capital G, little g, that will cause some graying, whereas the 2 little g's, you don't get any graying at all. Poodles carry this graying gene. It affects the eumelanin, but unlike dilute, will not affect the eyes or the nose color. So the eye and nose color will stay the same. So if the nose is black and the eyes will still stay that crisp color, deep color, it won't fade it down, the nose will stay black. This gene is mostly recognized with dogs that have long hair, because as it kind of grows out the hair, the graying kind of becomes visible. She recently passed away, a Yorkie that was jet black whenever I would, groom her down. But once she got any length of hair, she would turn silver gray. She had the graying gene. Short-haired dogs may carry the graying, but the hair doesn't grow long enough to be visually seen, or the dog will shed before it can be visually seen. And I threw in examples. This is, obviously when dogs get older, they gray, but this is not old age graying. This is a, graying gene that takes place. And this is the same dog progressively getting. So the dog was jet black, got a little bit of smoky gray as it aged, and then when it was an adult, it was that silver color. All right, so now we're going to look at 3 locus.
Can I ask a quick question? Because I got here late. Maybe you already covered.
Yes.
But when my girl's D-locus test came back with no call, what is that?
Came back as what?
No call. NOCALL. That's
Huh.
what it's.
So I'm thinking that this who did you test through?
Embark. I mean, and I just got it. And so that's one thing that it says D locust and it has no call as her results.
That's very interesting because I'm just gonna look at mine real quick. I'm gonna pull mine up. I'm wondering if they were testing just for the graying gene and or the graying locus, and what that basically means is it doesn't carry for it. I think that's probably what it means if you call them. I would call
Okay.
them. I've never seen that results. I had mentioned in the beginning is that some companies will only test for specific allele rather than the whole locus. And so if you're testing for just whether or not the dog will gray, if it doesn't carry at all for the graying, the answer would be NN. So I'm kind of feeling like that's what that means, is it doesn't carry for the graying at all. All right. So okay, so all right, so I'm going to look at three locuses that go hand in hand. It's the length of the hair, the curl, and the furnishings. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at the length of the hair. When you're getting tested, you're going to test whether or not your dog has long or short hair. Embark calls your short hair G, and that's the most dominant, and your long hair is a T. Paw prints call it LH for long, and short is SH. But if you have two G's, the dog will have short hair. If you have a G and a T, the dog is still going to have short hair. If you have two T's, which represent long hair, then your dog will have long hair. So you have to have the two T's in order for your dog to have long hair. For the curl to be considered, this is another one just like the white spotting. It's an incomplete dominance, so it kind of shares, it kind of shuffles together and works together. One doesn't necessarily really strongly trump the other one. T stands for curly, and C for straight in Embark, and in Paw Prints, curly stands for a capital C, capital U with a up in the air C for curly, and then two CUs are straight. Two capital T's in Embark, you'll have a curly coat. If you have a T and a C, you are either going to get curly or wavy. So, like, again, they're sharing that, so they don't really necessarily, it's kind of a gamble what you're going to get because they're incomplete dominance. And then the two little C's will be straight. So for us, curly coat poodles, you're looking for two capital T's. And then with the furnishings or improper coat, again, it works with your curl locus and your long hair locus. An F stands for furnishing, which is dominant. An I stands for improper coat. Paw prints call it IC for improper coat. Two capital F's, your dog will be furnished. Your dog will still be furnished if there's an F and an I, but it will carry for an improper coat. And then in order to have a dog that is an improper coat, you will have two I's. Now we're going to look at dogs, and we're going to decipher what these dogs have in the length of the hair, the curl of the hair, and the furnishings. All right. So this big poodle here, curly or straight? Curly, with long hair and furnishings. You can see that mustache there. You can see the eyebrows. Now this dog up here, you see that the dog still has long hair, but the hair is wavy. So you know the results is TC for that dog because it's wavy. It's not curly, so it's not TT, right? It's kind of wavy. And the dog still has furnishings. You can still see the eyebrows and the mustache, beard. And this little guy right here is not a lab, it's a doodle. But this doodle got the short hair genes, got the straight genes, and also got the improper coat. All right. So you can understand your genetics. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at this photo right here. This photo right here is a friend of mine that I've met through the alpaca industry that also does doodles. This is mama right here, and this is just a friend, and this is the babies this mama had. And when speaking to the lady a couple weeks ago, she was shocked that there was no cream colored puppies. I'm going to give you another example. This is the lady that I happened to speak to on, she was a Craigslist seller, and it intrigued me that she had all phantoms with this pairing. And again, I spoke with her, and she was completely, did not know what happened. Where are the cream puppies? Why did I get all phantoms? So when you know your genetics, you know what you can produce. So now we're going to break out of the PowerPoint, and I'm going to pull up some samples of, hold on a second, different, let me find my desktop. Okay. So, tell me if you can see my writing. It's going to pull up in a second. All right. Let me stop share for a second, because sometimes I have to share it twice in order for you to see it. All right. Tell me what you see on your screen. Do you see my writing? Yeah? Okay, good. All right. So we're just going to look at the E locus right now. So let me get my pen out. All right. So let me just move that out of the way. Sorry, I got to move all my screening out of the way so it's not blocking my writing. All right. So let's say this is dad right here. So we've broken up his embark results. So his results was a capital E and a lowercase e. So that's what you see right here. This is dad. And let's say this is potential mom. Say you own dad. And so you want to see what percentage of reds can be produced, because you really like reds. You want to produce reds. So when you put mom here and dad here, you're going to put this E and this E here, and it goes in that box. Does everybody know how to do one of these squares? I'll just go over really quickly if you don't. This E matches with that E, and it's kind of put in that box. It's kind of like the multiplication table. You went like this, and you met in the middle, and wherever it was the answer. Well, that's kind of like with the E's. So this is a big E, and this is a big E, so that's what you got there. All right, so knowing that you need 2 little E's to make a cream puppy, you can see this combination will create absolutely no cream red puppies at all. You got no EEs, okay? So you're not gonna wanna find a dog to pair, that's big E to pair with this dog of yours. Now let's pretend that you don't want any reds. Gasp! Reds, no reds. You have the big E and a little E, and the stud that you own, that you purchased, happens to be the same, and you've put them together, and you've done your little mathematical equation, and you do not want to produce any reds or creams. Did it work? Yeah, it worked? Oh, no. No, it didn't work, right? Because what do we have right here?
Yeah, the 2 little E's.
Yeah, we have right there. So you have a 1 in 4 chance in this combination to have a cream puppy. All right. now you decide, I want a greater percentage rate of having red puppies with my big E, little e, and so you found yourself a little e dog to breed with yours. And when you do that, do you end up with cream and reds? 50% chance. So by changing the stud, you've increased your odds of getting your creams and your reds. Okay. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper into, oh, I got to go back to my mouse. Little bit deeper into how to match up. Okay. I'm getting progressively more advanced. All right. Can you see this setup? Yeah, you can see it? All right, so it says male and female over there. All right, so again, I'm only now looking at 2 locus. I'm not looking at the whole thing, and you can do the whole thing, but I'm breaking it up really tiny right now, making it really easy. All right, so when you have a male and you have a female and you want to pair them together and you want to know what kind of colored puppies you're going to produce, you need to be able to combine all the different loci in the various different combinations. So for example, let me get my pen out so I can, where is it? Where did it go? All right. So draw, okay. You need to move. So this dog is KBKY. So I'm first gonna just look at the KB, and that this KB could be paired with the AT, right? Or it could get paired with the A, right? So that's what you see here. The KB got paired with the AT, and the KB got paired with the A. I also have a different result on the other side of the K, so now I also have to combine the KY with the A's. So the KY could be with the AT, which is there, or it could be paired with the A, which you see there. That's all the combinations you can get. You can't get any more out of that combination right there. So that created 4 different combinations. Now with the female, it's a little bit less because she had the same results in the K and only difference in the A. So the KY will either go with the AY or either go with the AT. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take that results All right. Tell me if you can see the new screen. Yes? Great. All right. So let me get my little drawing. All right. So what you see here is basically the results from the other page. So I've put across the top the results for the male, right? Remember it had 4 results. And then for the females, it only had 2 results. Now I'm just going to simply start matching them up. This KB goes with that KY, and I put it there. That AY goes with that AT, and it's put there. This KB goes with that KY. That AY goes with that A. Does that all make sense, or do I need to kind of continue to explain that?
Can you maybe explain like what one block would mean?
Yes, I will. But do you understand the pairing? Like you just take the K and the B and you kind of put them together. Does that all make sense for pairing? I got head nods. Yes? Okay. So what you want to know is what kind of puppy this creates. Is that what you're going to ask?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So because this here's a KB, that's the most dominant. That dog is black. So I'll just put a black. This dog here is black because of this. This disables the A. It does not allow the A to present itself. When you have a dominant K in your K locus, it trumps the A. You can't see it. You have to have KY, KY. So in this dog, you now get to see what's in the A because there's two KY, KYs. This here is a sable. So this dog is a sable. Carrying phantom. This dog here is also a sable, but carries for a recessive black. Down here, you have a black dog. Here, again, black dog. This here is a phantom. And this is a phantom carrying for a recessive black. Does that make sense, Lori?
On a beginner's level, yes.
Okay. So KB, whenever you have a KB, it's always black. Okay.
I have a
In
question.
order, okay.
So I'm sorry. The last two on the bottom, right?
Yep.
The KY, KY, AT. What is that one?
KY, AT is a phantom, straight up phantom. It's not carrying anything other than another phantom gene.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the far bottom right, again, is a phantom, but it's carrying a recessive black.
Okay. Sorry. I had to move. I can't see the whole screen because of the people.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just erase all that. All right. Mouse. All right. Let me get another example. Where's my screen? Where'd you go? Okay. So, sorry, it's taking a moment. All right, tell me what you see now. Do you see a new screen that says male on the top?
Mhm.
Oh, good. So here we have a male. Now this gets a little bit more involved. Okay. So this is your Embark results. So now you have to very slowly look at the results and pair all the different possible combinations. So let me get my, hold on, drawing. Okay. So this KB can go with this AT, it can go with this B, it can go with this E, and it can go with that S, right? Then another path it can go is it can still go all the way straight down, but then it pairs with that SP, right? Actually, let me choose a different color. Maybe green? Is that dark enough? Nah, I guess so. Now this KY can go with an AT, B, E, S, or same path, but then goes to the SP. So you just have to get all the possible combinations without repeating yourself.
So-
If you find you've repeated yourself, just cross one out
So
because it's redundant.
You said the KB is black, right? Trump black.
KB, yep, is black.
So no
But-
matter what combination though, wouldn't they just all be black?
Okay, so what you're looking at, okay, so this is, you got to understand this. This is what you have here is the makeup of your male. He will only give one of his Ks to his offspring. So what you're doing is you're creating potential combinations that your offspring will have. Does that make sense? Like, so for example, this male has a KB or KY. When it's bred to your female, its genetic makeup in the sperm is either going to be having a KB in it or it's going to have a KY in it. It's not going to have both. So that's why you split up all the possible genetic combinations that male can give to its offspring. So that's what you're seeing there is all the possible combination. What you see below is not a puppy yet. This is half a puppy. You got to get your female genetics next and then combine them, and that's when you form your puppy genetics. Okay? So right now, all this right here, think of it as the male contribution to your puppy. Now we're going to look at the female's contribution. Okay, I got to make sure I do the right one. I think this is it. Do you see the one that says female now? No? Okay, I'm gonna try that again. Okay, this might be it. Does that say female? Yeah? Awesome. Okay, so now here is the female's contribution. Oops, gotta make this bigger. So now this female, look at all the results down below. 8 possible combinations. When you go through it, it can get crazy confusing. So it takes time to get it. But like this, I'll just do, this can go here, 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 and here. This KY could go here, 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 here. It can go boom, 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 and then it can do all the SPs. So that's how you got 8 different results. Just this one alone, you can make up 4 different combinations. And then with this one attaching to the AT, you can get 4 different combinations. So now you've got your male combination and you got your female combination. And now it's time to decide what you're going to create for your puppies. Let me see. I think it's this one. All right, you should get a blank chart. Do you have the blank chart? Yeah? Oh, awesome. Okay, so annotate. All right, so move things around here a minute. All right, so you had the 8 results from the female and the 4 results from the male, right? So why don't we unmute and tell me what this puppy is going to have right here in this block for the K locus.
KBKY?
Yes, yes. So this puppy here would be, it's hard to write with this thing. KB, KY. All right. So how about the E locus? Because we know the E locus trumps the K. So without going into the whole entire kind of breakdown, what do we get for the E?
We get EE, large.
Right.
capital.
2 EEs. So what color is that dog going to be?
Cream. No, because they're capital E, so that'd be black.
Black. They're black. Exactly. These dogs are going to be black. Now, it has a KY, correct? So that means its offspring's offspring could potentially throw phantoms because it doesn't have 2 capital B's, right? So you just kind of you gotta just slowly start breaking it up, looking and seeing that there's an AY and an AT. So that tells you that it is a sable, carrying for sable. There's 2 capital B's, so there's no brown, right? And it's an SP and an S, which tells you there's going to be some white on it. Okay? I'm going to jump down to another, because this just would just take too long to do everything. So let's look right here at this spot right here. What would this dog have in the K locus?
KY, KY.
Yep. So this is a KYKY. And so because it's KYKY, we now have to look at the A locus to tell us what the color is. So what is in the A locus?
AYAT.
AYAT. So we know that AY represents, do we remember what AY represents?
Lord, no.
Sable?
Sable. That's right. So this puppy right here would be a sable. That is a sable puppy. All right. Let's look at this puppy right here. What do we have in the K locus for this puppy?
KY, KY.
Yep, KYKY. So because it's KYKY, what do we have to do? What do we have to look at to determine its color?
The E or the B?
We could first look at the E. Yep, let's look at the E. What is the E's?
EE.
2 capital E's?
Yeah.
So is that puppy gonna be cream?
No.
No. So, okay, so we know that it's KYKY. The E's not really doing anything. So now what do we have to look at?
The B?
We probably should look at something before the B.
Oh, wait. It's hard to see both.
Would we look
The
at
A.
the A? Would we look at the, yeah, we would look at the A locus. We would look at the A locus, which is AT. AT. So we know it's KYKY and then it's AT. So what is this puppy gonna be?
Phantom.
Phantom.
Yep. Yep. I'm gonna put a P. That puppy's Phantom.
And also try.
And Party. Did somebody say that?
Try?
Party. It's got lots of white because it's got an SP and an SP. That means there's lots of white. So it'd be a try. Yeah, sorry. So it'd be a try. Sorry. I didn't look at the really it's a try. Right? Okay. Do you see how this here up top has all capital E's? So that tells me there's no way this combination will create any cream puppies because there's no way you can get 2 little E's with that combination. Yep. So let's look at the B's. Up top, there's all capital B's as well. So that tells me you can't even get any browns. So you can't get creams, you can't get browns. You can only get blacks, phantoms, and I mean it's actually quite a variety. You can get black, phantoms, tries, and sables with this combination. You just can't get browns and creams.
Where's this dog at? Where are these dogs at? We need them.
They're out there.
We'll have some one day.
Yeah, one day we will. So did anybody come with their results that they have questions on? Casey gave me her results and she emailed me or messaged me. Casey, your pairing of Bertha and Smokey will give you a potential of 128 different combinations.
I get to
You're not
see
gonna
them in December.
I mean, you won't. you won't get 128 different colored puppies. Like, 75% of them or 75 of them might be black.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you can, with the pairing and stuff, 128, I would have to make a square like this that has 128 squares. Yeah, I thought that was, Smokey had 8 different results and Bertha had actually 8 and 8. They both had 8.
Wow.
It was a lot. Yeah. A lot of different combinations when you break up the genes. All right.
What kind of dogs?
They're doodles.
Does anybody have any questions like, I have this dog, I really want to produce reds. This is the results. What do I need? Or I don't want to produce blacks. Well, can I produce different colors with this dog?
I don't have my embark testing yet on my Merle, but because I'm going to be breeding Aussie Doodles, Merles is the preferred coat of choice. And I know you can't breed Merle and Merle because of the genetic defects that come with that. But my question is, what do you typically breed with a Merle to get more Merles?
So it's my understanding, I didn't do a lot of research in the Merle department. I almost put it up, but I wasn't sure if we had anybody doing Merles. And Merle is I found very kind of confusing because they have a scale. Like if your puppy has 200 to 248, your puppy will basically not even look Merle. Versus if you got a number that's 240 to 275, then there's going to be slight merling, and you know what I mean. There's this chart of numbers. My understanding, if I remember correctly, because it's been a while since I really studied it, is that you want only one M for a Merle. You want to be bred to another dog that doesn't have an M. All you need is one Merle to produce a Merle. The biggest thing is you want that number that I was referencing to be at a sweet spot. So my question would be for you is get that number, what range does she fall in or he fall in? And then from there, I could probably direct you a little bit more.
When I get my embark testing, maybe I'll reach out to you. You can help me decipher.
Yeah. There was a number range with the Merles. Does anybody else have embark results?
I
Yeah,
have a
I do.
question.
Oh.
I have my embark results yet. They're coming soon, but for tuxedo, balancing the party and then the abstract, those SPs. I don't know. Tell me about that.
Okay, so you currently have a what?
Well, for the tuxedo markings. So I'm not sure what my girl is going to be, but she's almost tuxedo. The male is capital S and then lowercase SP. So
Okay.
pretty much tuxedo for his markings. So I'm kind of looking back at his parents, and then when I do those boxes to see what the puppies will be, how do I, with the S and the SP for the party and the abstract, is there a way to kind of see how much tuxedo white, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you see the whiteboard?
Yeah.
So you have a puppy. Oh, I wish I could write better with this stupid mouse. So you have an S and an SP?
Well, I'm not sure what my girl is. What she looks like is probably that, but the male is capital S and then lowercase SP. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so in order to be a tuxedo,
Uh-huh.
that means the majority isn't white. It's the whole back is black and then underneath is white. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that means that it's an SSP. It's not an SPSP. So if that's the case,
Because it doesn't have enough white.
it doesn't have enough white to be an SPSP, right? So you would get one offspring that's solid white, an offspring that would be tuxedo-y,
Okay.
another one that's tuxedo-y,
Mhm.
and then you would get a party.
Oh, okay. Okay. Since I don't have the Embark results for my girl yet, what would I want it to look like if I wanted to try to get more of that tuxedo? Like, what would be that ideal combination for
Okay.
both?
Okay. Let me do something real quick.
So like like work backwards.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I lost my. I'm just looking at one other option. Okay, that's SPSP. Okay, so I think this combination. I don't know. Do you want solid colors? So it would be up to you what you want in this combination that I'm presenting to you, which would be a party with your tuxedo. You're going to get 50% tuxedo-y and 50% party.
Okay. I see how you did that. Well, so if that first single S is a capital S.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference between a capital S and a lowercase s?
S stands for solid, and
A
an
capital?
SP.
Yeah. Okay.
An S by itself is a solid puppy,
Okay.
and an SP is half of a party. They share the dominance. The S genes share the dominance. That's why you can get a tuxedo that has like 50% white, or not 50%. I guess are tuxedos considered 50%? 50%?
They look like it.
No, they're not. Not always. Don't know. Oh, don't know. I feel like they tend to look like they're more balanced with the white and the black. That's a combination of an S and an SP sharing the dominance, and so they're like equally just being displayed. I guess is the best way that I would explain it.
Interesting. Okay.
So I guess the question is, if you don't want any solid puppies, I would try to find a party.
Okay.
But if you don't mind a party, then you could also do another tuxedo.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, I have a question. Okay, mine is about the curl and straight.
Yeah.
So my girl came back with I'm trying to pull it up. She is, for her coat texture, is CC, so that means it's supposed to be straight, right?
Wait a second. For Embark?
Embark. Coat
Hold on. I don't have it all memorized.
Yeah.
Curl.
CC.
Is it?
Yeah.
T, yeah, so capital T's are curly. So yours came back CC?
Yeah, and look at her. So my question is, she's as poodle as you can get. So do I now doubt the rest of this test?
Huh.
I mean, to get 2 C's, and she's as curly as can be.
Are you sure that wasn't under the shedding?
No, I'm looking at it right now. It's under because it has my furnishings, then my coat length, then my shedding, and then my coat texture. My coat texture is CC.
Your coat texture is CC?
Yes. Yeah.
Huh.
Here, can you see that?
No, but I believe you.
Yeah.
That's odd.
I know. So that's what's got me concerned about the validity of everything that I've got. I mean, when it's so obviously wrong in that regard. I mean, unless maybe she's gonna, when she's only 5 months old, so maybe when she blows her coat, it's gonna come in straight.
Yeah. Maybe.
I just wondered whether anybody else had experience with that.
Oh, well, so I'm reading here, and it does say that dogs with 2 copies of the C's are likely to have straight coat, but there are other factors that can cause a curly coat. For example, if they are at least 1 F allele for the furnishing gene, they are likely to have a curly coat.
So how would you genetically get the straight coat furnished doodle then? If because I mean they're out there, and that's I love, and I'm trying to find that. How would you identify it genetically? If the furnishings change that straight, then how are we getting them, and how do we determine that based on genetics from somebody's test to decide if that's who we want to sire our pups? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. That's a really good question. You would think that maybe phenotypically you would be able to, from visually looking, to determine whether or not that coat, you know what I mean, is going to be less curly or straight, because you want the straight.
Yeah.
But you want furnishings too.
Right. I want the straight and furnishings. And so, I mean, if she tests out it's straight and furnishings, but she's not. So what are you looking for then, I guess, to find out if you get straight and furnishings, if they're testing and looking 2 different things?
Can I add something too with all the doodles that we've bred? You can look at these test results all day long, and even within a litter, you can have very different coated puppies. So at some point, Lisa, too, if you love this dog, you just breed it with something, and then you see, and then that was a good pairing, that wasn't a good pairing, and maybe this isn't the right way, but I can tell you, I can study these. I'm sitting and looking at all mine now, and I'm like, it's crazy because what it says on here, well, even within a litter, I'll have those super flat coated doodles that shed and kind of look like a messed up golden retriever, seriously. And I have what Pam's litter, Pam and F1 golden doodle, one of them out of 2 litters, so 30 puppies, let's say, 1 out of 30 he looks like a kind of a weird golden retriever. Genetics, even within this, genetics don't play fair. I don't have answers for that either. And so I think sometimes I wouldn't not breed her based on that.
Oh yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good question to maybe call them and ask them.
Okay.
Yeah, call them and ask them, because that, like, maybe you're right. Maybe it's going to blow out straight. But here it looks like the F can have an effect on it as well. They all work together. Like if you read about the furnishing, they tell you it's affected by the length of the hair, and it's also affected by the curl coat. Those 3 work together, and they do this magical concoction, and boom, kind of what you get. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just seems strange. And then I've got another girl, and she tested out for having 2 curls and TT, yet she's got a real wavy coat. So I don't know.
She tested out as 2 T's.
Yes. And where's Marley?
And she's got wavy.
Yeah, Marley has wavy coat. And so it's like, I don't know.
If you read their test results, it always says most likely will have.
Yeah. So and that's where we're still, as much as we go into genetics, it's all a crapshoot.
Right, and that's I don't know if you were here in the beginning. I said, it's not 100% foolproof. These
Right.
genetics are not 100% foolproof. You'll have these mutations or these results, which the results do not line up with what you're seeing on the puppy.
Right.
But there's a higher percent rate of it being more accurate than not, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Thanks.
you're welcome. Anybody else have a puppy result that they want to try to?
Can you touch on the impact of the curl and furnishings and all of those genes on shedding and the potential allergy benefits?
Well, I haven't got 100% really like into all of that, but so what you're asking me is like what style is less allergic for people? Is that
There's
what you're
some-
asking?
There's some breeders that say our dogs are coat tested, so we can 100% promise that they don't shed, and I think that goes
No.
towards the furnishings and those kinds of things. But they're
No,
just lying.
no. So what it is this. Who has a curly puppy whose coat is a mess if you don't take care of it? Raise your hand. Brushing it like daily is like almost like a must. It's because it sheds and the curls hold the hair against the skin and you get the matting. So they're still shedding, it's just not falling out and onto the ground. There's still shedding that's taking place.
Just like humans, we shed every day. Hair, eyelashes, all of it.
Yeah, there's still shedding that's going on.
But my allergies are
I think-
definitely triggered by different breeds, and I have a lot of poodles and doodles, and it's not as triggering.
No,
to-
and the reason that is because each breed has a different shedding what's the term? Rate, shedding rate. So for example, I don't know the numbers, I'm making this up in my head, but it's pretty much like close to this. Labs will shed their skin every 2 to 3 days. Poodles will do their shedding of their skin once every, I don't know what the number is, 30 days, 45 days. It's like that. So, people that have allergies, they're allergic to the skin cells, in addition to the saliva, there's a combination on why people are allergic to dogs. So when you get dogs that have hair, they're not shedding at a frequency rate like labs and goldens do. That's why people that suffer allergies, like my husband, he can handle a Yorkie. We had Yorkies before we got our poodles. He didn't really have any reaction. Before our Yorkie, we had a chocolate lab. It practically killed him. He was sucking down his inhalers like it was candy. And that had to do with the shedding rate of their skin cells.
I have a question about Phantom.
Okay.
Is it like Merle that some are more, like, is there an intensity level of Phantom?
So Casey and I were just talking about this actually the other day. One of her dogs tested EM, which I didn't cover, which I guess maybe I'm covering now, which is a mask. And what that means is if they test for an EM, that's actually dominant over just the E. And what that means is a puppy will have a mask. If a dog is dark colored, you won't see the mask, but what you see is the points on the face are being blocked. So you might get very little eyebrows poking through because the mask is covering the eyebrows or the markings on the face.
But that's just for the face, because I just got 2 Phantom girls
It can go down the chest.
because their face is pretty well marked, but they don't really have the chest marking as much.
It can go down the chest too.
Okay.
The masks can go down the chest as well.
By the way, I won that battle. I got 2 new girls last weekend.
You got 2 new girls.
Yeah. So
You had a battle.
Well, not a battle, but my husband was like, I really just feel comfortable getting one more right now. But when we got there, he fell in love with one and I fell in love with the other. And I'm like, are you going to give up your girl?
You
He's-
conveniently fell in love with the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, phantoms can say are lightly marked.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has a combination maybe to do like, especially in the face, if you see whether or not they have an EM in their E locus.
Yeah, I was
and then
just
maybe
looking at my Embark results from one of my party girls, and she's an EM, and I was going to ask what that was.
Yeah, so it's a mask. So you typically will see it. Hold on one second. Let me pull up my conversation that I had with Casey.
Okay.
That dog has a solid black face. That mask is hiding the points on the face.
Okay. All right.
Here's another example of one that's lightly marked eyebrows because of the mask.
Okay.
And you can see that mask going down the chest too. See how it cut that? Because it usually goes straight across that fawn area. So the mask can go down the chest as well and block some of that.
This has been really helpful. I had talked
I'm
to
glad.
someone else about genetics, and I was so terribly confused because I'm breeding currently my brown and white party poodle with my Bernedoodle, and I was just baffled that I wouldn't get any brown. I would only get bicolored Bernedoodles because looking at them, that's not what you would think at all. And
Yeah, I know.
it's been really helpful. I mean, I believed what she said, but I still was like, I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you said you had a brown. You repeat that. You have a brown.
I have a brown and white, or like cream and brown party poodle.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm breeding her with my Bernedoodle.
Okay.
And so she's Biggie, little b, KB, little a, and then SP. But he doesn't carry any brown.
Doesn't carry any brown.
No. So
right. So what you need to do is, well, I guess there's a couple options you could do. You could find another pairing and get another dog that has two little Bs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking for a stud. But I'm okay with bicolored Bernedoodles because of the temperament of my male is phenomenal.
Yeah.
He puts up with my 5 females. It's like he didn't even notice that the 2 new ones were there. So he's a phenomenal dog. But the weird thing is neither one of them carry dilute and both of them have faded. His black has faded to gray and her brown she's more like cafe au lait look, but it says both of them are non-dilute.
I did a little bit of research on the cafe au lait, but I didn't get too deep into learning the cafe au lait and what that is a result of.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't learned about them yet.
Yeah.
Because I was confused because when I was doing my research, I was trying to figure out, is a cafe au lait or a silver beige a dilute of a brown?
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't sure initially.
Well, I feel like, and there's a definite difference between the silver beige and the cafe au lait.
Oh yeah.
So. But I didn't get Embark on them. I did Optimal Selection.
Yeah.
I like Optimal Selection.
I was going to originally go with them too because their pricing was really good. But like Jeanette said, with Embark, they're the only ones that's backed up by Cornell. And I'm like, that, for some people, they're going to see that as a legitimate test, even though the other ones are legitimate.
Yeah, well, Optimal Selection is part of Wisdom Panel also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Wisdom Panel is the parent company, but they were my first two I got testing on. So
yeah.
You learn as you go.
Mm-hmm.
I may send you their results and see what you think.
Okay. I can definitely do that. I'm definitely offer my services. Like if you need help, you want to learn to do it yourself, we can do one-on-one, conferencing, and I can walk you through it. I'm here to help. I know this is a lot to take in. It was a lot of information. That's why, I said, write notes, re-listen to this. But honestly, for me, what I did every single night, I would spend like 10 minutes and I'd be like, E trumps the K. If there's two little E's, I would get it in my head. All right, two KYKYs, I got to look at the A. And I would just kept doing it over and over again. And eventually it just became second nature. And I got it in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else have any other results question they want to ask? Pairing?
I got to bow out. I have to go back to work. I totally screwed up my time schedule today.
Okay.
Looking forward to this weekend for those who are coming.
Oh, yes. Everybody that's going, have an amazing time. It should be a great time for you all.
I'm excited.
I'm going to be stuck in frigid Maine. Me and Liz going to be stuck in frigid Maine.
I'm in cold Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah.
January, we start classes for those of you that want to do temperament or puppy evaluations.
Can't wait.
Melissa, you got to help me. You got to show me how I can do video on this. So I need a little help.
I was super impressed with your techie skills.
Oh my gosh, I'm learning, but goodness gracious. I need to know more at Zoom so that I can show you guys an eval video and then we can hash through it. I can pause it, right, Melissa? I should be able to do all that. Pause it, talk about online, now look at this specifically, that kind of thing. Possible?
Let me okay. So yes, what you're going to want to do is you want to do your video and you're going to want to put it up on YouTube.
Okay.
All right. And then when you share your screen, which I can teach you how to do all of that, you're going to share your screen. You're going to have YouTube in your Safari. Do you do Safari?
Either Chrome and Safari. I do both.
Chrome or Safari, whatever one you have running in the background from the class.
Okay.
When you share your screen, I'll teach you all about it. It'll open up an option.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll teach you how to do it. Or what you can do is, if you want to make me a co-host during those classes, I can be your hands.
Oh, nice. Okay. That might work too. Okay, so we'll get that all set up and ready so we can run that smoothly. The more videos we can show and we can stop and rewind and watch, the better it will be for everybody. So
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa. You're becoming our genetics guru. We will direct everybody to you, whether you want a job title or not. You are a badass geneticist. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Yay.
I love it. I'm a geek. I'm a geneticist geek.
I will be coming to you. I have a few I want to hash out with you. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'd rather not play scientist anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely manipulate it.
Yeah, a little bit of help would be nice. So
we're good at manipulation, us women.
Oh boy. All right, everybody have a great day. I'll see you Friday night.
Thank you.
Jealous.
I know. I wish you
all righty. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.